Hello guys, good evening. So today we're going to check and review and do the extension for our first lesson. 大家晚上好，我们今天是会对我们第一讲去做出我们的解析啊，然后我们的一个挑战题，还有我们透展题的解释，包括我们作业可能个别经典题目的整理。So for this lesson, we are going to know how to split the fraction or how to telescoping the fraction. 我们在这一讲主要学习的是如何对于分数列项。Usually, if we want to split the fraction, the most important point that we need to make sure we can write down the denominator as a product of two numbers. For example, like a times b. That is a perfect denominator. But for the numerator, usually we have two kind of requirement. 对于我们的分母 denominator，一般情况下的话呢，它会要求我们写成2个或者3个数相乘。But for the numerator, we have two kind of form. The first method is that the numerator is a difference of these two factors. So that for this one, we can split them into b over a times b minus a over a times b. b over a times b minus a over a times b, and we can, for the first fraction, we can get rid of b from the first time at the same time. 对于我们第一个分数而言，我们可以分子分母同时约去 b。对于我们第二个分数而言，我们可以分子分母同时约去 a. So that we can get is a 1 over a minus 1 over b. And you can find out after the splitting, after the telescoping, we find out it just becomes the difference between two unit fraction. 我会发现经过列项之后呢，可以得到2个单位分数。单位分数指的就是我们的分子为1的分数。And then, for second one here, we just got the numerator is b plus a. Another kind of form is just the numerator is the sum of the two factors here. And we can also do the same thing. It equals b over a times b plus a over a times b. b and b cancelled, a and a cancelled. We just got is a 1 over a plus is a 1 over a plus 1 over b. And you'll find this time there are also two unit fraction. 依然是有2个单位分数, but this time the sign between them will be addition. So these two type, the type above is called 列和. The type above is called 列差. We just split the fraction into the difference between two fractions. The second type is called 列和. And this is all we have learned in the first lesson, but we will focus on some different type in the assignment and in the following explanation part. So here the time is the first one. The first one is just talking about how we find out the numerator is what kind of thing. The numerator is the sum of two fractions. 我们在这会发现我们的分子永远都是对应的分母2个因数的和。So here we can written them as the 11, we write them as the 7 plus 4 over 4 times 7. We just split them, but we didn't change the value. And minus, pay attention here, this, we got a sign. Compare with a fraction that the numerator is a difference of two factors. 和我们那种分子是分母2个因数的差的那种分数做对比。我们在这儿我们会发现它不再是全是加号了。We have the subtraction, we have the addition. So here we need to pay attention to the sign when we calculate that. The 17 equals a 10 plus 7, and then over 7 times 10. And plus 23 is 13 times plus 10 over 10 times 13. Keep doing that. 119 is 61 plus 58 over 58 times 61 minus 64 plus 61 over 61 times 65. So we find out at this time, now there is no 125, no 119. We just turn all the numerator into the sum of the two factors in the denominator. 我们这些分子就不再存在了，我们把它化成了用对应的分母的和的形式去表示出来的式子。And then the next time we just split them, we will just got a 7 over 4 times 7. And 7 cancel, we just got a 1/4. And then we will also got a 4 over 4 times 7, but the 4 and 4 will cancel, we just got plus 1/7. And then minus 10 over 7 times 10. 10 cancel, just is a 1/7. But here is a subtraction sign, so minus 1/7. And 7 over 7 times 10 is just a 1/10. Here is still minus 1/10. And we keep doing that, becomes 1 over 10s plus 1 over 13s. Okay, here there are some terms hidden between them. 中间有一些项是被省略掉了。And for this one, we just got is 1 over 58 minus a plus 1 over 61. And minus we got 1 over 61 minus 1 over 64. 我们会发现中间的所有项都可以互相抵消掉。Every terms in the middle can be cancelled. The only thing left is a 1/4 minus 1/64. Here just got a 16 over 64 minus 1 over 64, which is 15 over 64. So that is what we have. That is what we have here. And for this one, the first important thing is pay attention to the sign. The second one, just when we just split it, we just find the numerator. We just check the numerator and denominator. 我们就要检查分子分母之间关系。这题还是比较简单的。This is quite simple, but if you're not familiar with it, it also takes some time to think about it. So for next one is a little bit tricky. The first thing makes it hard is that we have in the denominator, we have the product of 3 continuous fractions. Another difficulty is that for the numerator here is not the sum of the factors. It's also not the difference between the factors. So how can we solve it? So we still need to try to find out a pattern. The numerator 4, 5, and until 11. If you observe, you'll find it's always 1 larger than the largest number in each denominator. 如果大家观察，我们会发现这个分子始终比分母里最大的那个因数还要再大1。So we can just write the numerator as the largest factor plus 1. And then something special happened. We can just try to show you here. 3 plus 1 over 1 times 2 times 3. We can split them into 2 parts. It becomes 3 over 1 times 2 times 3 plus 1 times 2 times 3. And the second part is a 4 over 2 times 3 times 4 plus 1 over 2 times 3 times 4. Plus until 10 over 8 times 9 times 9 times 10 plus 1 over 8 times 9 times 10. 我们对于这每一项都这么分解， 发现每一项都可以拆成两部分。Here, for the first part here, the numerator is the same as the largest factor in the denominator, so they can cancel. So the denominator for the first part, it always become a unit fraction with two number multiplied together as denominator. 对于这个每一项的第一部分，我们会发现它的分子始终与分母中最大的因数相等。那我们一约之后呢，也就变成了1在上面，分母是2个数相乘。And then we just got is a 1 over 1 times 2. Here is 1 over 2 times 3. And then in the end we got 1 over 8 times 9. 我们发现把这些部分整合到一起，这个是什么？这是我们可以列项的最基础的形式。我们的分子正好是分母2个数长。This is just the simplest form for the telescoping the fraction. We just keep it here. For the remaining part, we still observe it. 1 over 1 times 2 times 3 plus 1 over 2 times 3 times 4 plus something until 1 over 8 times 9 times 10. For the lesson, during our lesson last week, we have talked about in this kind of format when there are 3 fractions multiplied together. 在我们上堂课当中，我们看到如果分母是3个因数相乘，并且是3个连续自然数相乘 usually we prefer what? We prefer the numerator is the largest factor minus smaller factor. 我们希望分子是最大的因数减去最小的因数。For example, 1 times 2 times 3 as denominator, what will be preferred to be the numerator? Is a 3 minus 1, which is 2. 我们希望2是分子。Why? Because for 3 and 1, if we split them, 3 over 1 times 2 times 3 minus 1 over 1 times 2 times 3. And here is 1 over 1 times 2. 1乘2分之1减去减去2乘3分之1。And this is okay to do the telescoping. 我会发现这种方式的话呢，如果我们的分子满足要求，它也是可以列项的。So we want the numerator to be 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. But we cannot change the value. 但我们不能改变值啊。我们得让它这个分子还是1。2乘以多少是1呢？It times a half equals 1. So we just write a half in the front of it. We just write a half in the front of it so that we didn't change value, but we got a form which is okay to do the telescoping. 我们会发现啊，我们有了这个2分之1之后呢，值没有改变，对吧？我们的这个形态它也满足了列项的要求。So we just do the simplification for each brackets.We consider each bracket as a group, and we do them one by one. 我们现在发现每个括号都符合列项要求，那我们就分别操作。For the first one, it is just 1 minus a half plus 1 half minus 1 third plus 1/8 minus 1/9. Everything in the middle has been cancelled. And second thing is plus a half of what? It becomes 1 over 1 times 2 minus 1 over 2 times 3 plus 1 over 2 times 3 minus 1 over 3 times 4. Keep doing that. We will got is plus 1 over 8 times 9 minus 1 over 9 times 10. Every terms in the middle will be get rid of again. 我们中间的部分全部约掉了。So for this two part, we got what? Is a 8 ninths plus half of what? Half of a half minus 1 over 90ths. A half can be written as what? It can be written as 45 over 90. 45 over 90 minus 1 over 90 is just a 22 over 90. It's just a 44 over 90, sorry. And 44 times a half, it just becomes 22 over 90. So answer here is 8 over 9 plus 22 over 90. And then we can just get an answer. We haven't simplified them yet. 8 over 9 plus 11 over 45. And it becomes 40 over 45 plus 11 over 45, which we got is a 51 over 45. That is how we got it. And then, for the 51 and 45, both of them are the multiple of 3. So divide 3 from both sides, get rid of 3 from both sides, we got 17 over 15. That will be the answer. That is just an answer for this one. This is a very important one. You can just try to have a look at it. And then let's move on. For next one here is also a little bit challenging, but quite interesting. It's quite an interesting question. And the number is so large, and there are so many terms here. In each bracket, there are more than 2,000 fractions. But for the fractions, did you find some similarity? 我们这道题啊，看着很复杂，但是非常非常的有趣。我们关键还是一样，要观察一下这些分数之间有没有什么规律。For the numerator, they are all the same, but it's not the sum of not the difference. But did you find that for the denominator? Among the denominators, anything special? Did you find for each brackets? 对于每个括号而言 the sum of two factors in each denominator is always the same. It's 2,000. It's always 2020. 我们分母里两个因数的和一定是2020。The difference has changed, but the sum haven't changed. So what about we just change the numerator to the sum of these two terms, change the numerator to the 2020. We just change the numerator to 2020 here. But we don't want to change the value. What should we do? We should multiply by 1 over 2020 in the front. 我们得在这个括号之前乘以2020，这样一来，这个分子它满足我们列和的要求。And then what about the second brackets? For the second one, for the fractions, it's the sum of two factors in the denominator. 分母里两个因数的和，它这次变成多少了？变成2019了。And did we find there's a 2019? Of course we find it just out of brackets. What about we just multiply the every numerator by the 2019. 我们直接把这个2019乘到这每个分数当中。The outside becomes a 1 and the inside becomes 2019. 2019. 2019. And we just simplify it. 1 over 2020. And then plus 1 over 1 times 2019 plus 2019 over 1 times 2019. Maybe we just change the position of them. 这两个我们顺序可能换一下。And plus 2018 over 2 times 2018 plus 2 over 2 times 2018. And we keep doing that. We got is 2002 over 2018 times 2 plus 2018 over 2018 times 2. We just split all of them. And here we got 1 over 2019 times 1 plus 2019 over 2019 times 1. This is for the first brackets. And if we simplify most of them, the first term here is 1. This here is just a 1. 1 plus 1 over 2019 plus a half plus 1 over 2018 plus. And until 1 over 2018 plus a half plus 1 over 2019 plus 1. And you will find that here, if we split them into two groups again, the first group is 1 plus a half plus 1/3 until plus 1 over 2018 and plus 1 over 2019。我们如果把这个括号内再分成一组，一组是从1、1/2、1/3、1/4、1/5，一直到2018，再到2019。And then the next one is just, did you find out? We got the next group is from 1 over 2019 plus 1 over 2018, 1 over 2017 until a half and 1. 另外剩下的部分就是2019，1/2、2018，1/2、2017，一直到1/2和1。我们会发现这里是相等的两组。这是我们对第一个括号化解。And for the second one, it's just the same thing. We got, it becomes what? Becomes 1 over 2020. And for this here, it becomes 2018 over 1 times 2018 plus 1 over 1 times 2018 plus 2017 over 2 times 2017 plus 2 over 2 times 17 plus until we got the last one is here is 1 over 2018 plus 1. 我们在第二个括号里面，我们依然把它拆成两项，and we just got this part becomes what? We have 1 plus 1 over 2018 plus a half plus 1 over 2017 plus 1/3 plus 1 over 2016 until we got 1 over 2018 plus 1. 我会发现这个括号里的分模这个括号里它依然可以分成两组，1、1/2、1/3，一直到2018，这是一组。另外一组是從2018，1/2、2017，1/2、2016，一直到1。One group is a 1, a half, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, 1/6 until 1 over 2018. Another group is 1 over 2018, 1 over 2017, 1 over 2016 until we got 1. We find out for these two brackets, bracket 1, bracket 2. 对于这两个括号而言，我们的括号内都可以分成两组，但是这两组各有不同，我们第一个括号内两组，它都是从1开始到2019分之1结束。第二个括号是从1开始到2018分之1结束。The first brackets start from 1 and end at 1 over 2019. The second group is start from 1 and end at 1 over 2018. So if we do the subtraction, here, did you see that? This is the subtraction sign. It's just here. We use the first bracket to minus the second bracket. And we just got an answer here. It is 1 over 2020 times 1 over 2019 plus 1 over 2019. 我们得到的就是2020分之1，这个是每个括号前面都有的。它乘以的是每一组 第一个括号内的一组比第二个括号内的一组多个2019分之一，每个括号内有两组，所以一共有2个2019分之一。So that we got answer become 1 over 1010 times 1 over 2019. And the answer is it's quite a complex number. The number here is times 1 over 2,039,190。我们最后得到结果也就是2039,190分之一。在这一定要注意啊，我们在列项的过程当中会发现，它每个括号内一个是从每个括号内它拆出来的这些项是分成两组的，一组是分母逐渐增大，另外一组是分母逐渐减小。So for each brackets here, there are one group. For the first group, that is the denominator just keep increasing until we reach 2019. The second group here is we keep decreasing from the 2019 and finally we got a 1. And that is a key point for this question. So please check it and be careful when do the calculation. That is what we have for the 3 classic questions in the homework part. For the extension part, we will just see them in the following phase. For this one, I'm not going to tell you the full step, but we are just trying to observe. We're just trying to observe this expression together. 对于这个题目，分母我们不会去直接告诉大家答案，但是我会告诉大家我们如何去观察。For example, from the denominator, 比如从分母而言 2, 6, 12, 20, 30, 42, 56, 72, 90, and 110. Are they special? Yes, they are special, but why they are special? They are special because they can be written as a product of 2 adjacent natural numbers. 它们特殊是因为它们的分母可以写成2个连续自然数的乘积。2 is 1 times 2. 6 is 2 times 3. 12 is 3 times 4. 20 is 4 times 5. 5 times 6, 6 times 7, 7 times 8, 8 times 9, 9 times 10, 10 times 11. And nothing is that for the numerator, is it the sum or the difference of these two factors? Unfortunately, for the first two, there might be some coincidence we got a correct thing, but it's hard to find the pattern in the relationship in the following part. 我们可以要看一下，我们现在发现分母是符合要求了，那就看分子它符不符合我们要求。分子的话呢，在这里我们会发现这分子啊，可以写成什么？它不能够写成我们2个因数的和，也不能写成我们2个因数的差。So we need to focus on the relationship between the numerator and denominator in each fraction. 1 and 2, 5 and 6, 11 and 12, 19 and 20, 29 and 30, and following terms. To define the numerator is always 1 smaller than the denominator. 我们的分子是不是永远比分母要小1啊？ For this kind of thing, each of them we can just written as 1 minus a unit fraction. 对于这种情况，既然我们的分子永远比分母小1，我们就用1减去一个对应分母的单位分数。And it becomes 1 minus a half plus 1 minus a 1/6 plus 1 minus 1/12. 就这样一直的减下去。And finally, we just got as a 1 minus 1 over 110. And we just check how many ones are there. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 一共有10个1。 And minus, for the remaining part, we just collect them together. And I think for the following steps, I don't need to talk too much, right? 对于我们后面的一些步骤，应该不用再说了吧？ So that is what we have. We have already talked about them in the lesson, but for the questions, I found some of our students still forgot this kind of method. It involves a calculation in fraction, but it's also a kind of skills. 对于这里的话呢，我们课堂上其实稍微讲过这样的题目，但是我看有的同学好像在课堂上可能听的有点困难，但没关系。这个我们一方面考察的是计算的基础，另外一方面的话呢，它考察什么？另外一方面，它考察的是我们的眼力。Okay, so let's continue. So following one, this one do I need to repeat? I don't. You just find out for the numerator is 1 less the denominator. 我们在这题也是一样，分子永远比分母小1。But for this one, after we collect all the terms, it becomes a 5 minus 1/3 plus 1/15 plus 1/35, 1/33, 63rd, 1/99. It cannot be split up directly. 对于这样的一个的话呢，它不能够直接列项。Why? Because 3 is 1 times 3, 15 is 3 times 5, 5 times 7, 7 times 9, and 9 times 11. The difference between these two factors is not 1. So we want them to have a difference. The difference 2. We want the numerator to be 2. But we cannot change the value. 我们现在发现分子不能满足要求，分子得是2才行。要它变成2，但是不能改变它的值怎么办呢？前面乘个1/2呗，那我们也就解决了。That is everything for us. So this is what we have. This is what we have for this question. And now let's move on. For the following one, it's still requiring us to find something. For this mixed numbers, it usually can make us a little bit confusing. 对于这样的一个代分数，它有的时候会让我们觉得很困惑。我们这个整数是带不带它玩呢？那肯定是不带啦。What we want? We just want a unit fraction. All the fraction have the same numerator. 我们一般希望什么？要不然是希望得到一个单位分数，要不然是希望它们同分子或同分母。但是我们如果通分了以后，那分子的差别的可以差得太大了。So we just take all the whole number together. 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 11. This is what we got. And then we got a 1/10, 1/40, 1/88, 1/154, 1 and 238 plus 1/340. 我们会发现这是这几个分数相加。But among these denominators, how can we split them? I will introduce a method which we are going to find the factors. 我们在这会介绍一种方法，叫做我们的找因数。Usually, if we want to cancel the terms in the middle, 如果我们想要这个如果我们想要能够把中间所有项都给约分掉，我们得满足什么要求？ We need to make sure it's become, for example, minus 1/a plus 1/a, right? Which means this factor a should appear in both the first and second one. So here we just think of, for the 10, it can be split up into what? it becomes 1 times 10 or 2 times 5. For the 1 times 10, 10, if this appears in the second fraction, 如果我们把这个10写成10乘1或者2乘5，如果写成10乘1吧，这个10如果要它出现在40当中，40它可以写成谁乘以10呢？4乘以10。但是这样的话，我们就列不出自己想要的了。What about we try the 5 here? If we got a 5, 40 can be written as what? Can be written as 5 times 8. Okay, and to find the difference between 2 and 5 is what? 3. And what's the difference between 4 and 8? It's 3 again. And now the 5 has been used, we need to find the 8 in the next one. 8 times what is 88? It becomes 11. 8 times 11. And double check again. What's the difference between 11 and 8? 11减8是多少？不还是3吗？所以我们会发现8这个因数又被用了，我们得在下一个分母里去找11。154和11是什么关系？它是11乘14。And what's the difference between 14 and 11? 14和11的差又是什么？它就是又是3。So in this way we can find out. Oh, we can just turn the denominators to the product of two numbers. And we can also make sure the difference between these two factors are fixed is 3. So here, we just write it as, for the following part, we write it as 1 over 2 fifths, 2 times 5, plus 1 over 5 times 8, plus 1 over 8 times 11. 我们就这样一直的写啊，11乘14啊，再加上14乘17啊，再加上17乘20呀。All of them just meet the requirement. But the denominator has met the requirement. What about numerator? 分母满足要求了，分子满足吗？ No, because the numerator is not the difference nor the sum of the factors. We can just, if we want to make a difference, 5 minus 2 is 3. 8 minus 5 is 3. 如果我们希望分子是分母两个因数的差，5减2 8减5 11减8 14减11 17减14 20减17都等于3。We want the 3 in the numerator, but we didn't have a 3 here. So to make sure the value unchanged, we need to multiply at 1/3 in front of it. And for the following part, try to complete by yourselves. I just split one terms for you. 3 over 2 times 5. The 3 is what? It's 5 minus 2 over 2 times 5. 在这里有同学会疑惑，我们这列项为什么不带3呢？因为我们这里的3它是分母两个因数的差。This 3 we can written as a difference between the two factors in the denominator. And then we split them, become 5 over 2 times 5 minus 2 over 2 times 5. 5 and 5 cancel, 2 and 2 cancel. It's 1 over 2 minus 1 over 5. 我们在这最后的结果一定是两个单位分数，不要在分子里再出现3了。It's a incorrect one. So now we just overcome this question. And let's have a look at the next one. Next one talking about the factorial. The factorial. This thing is very interesting. So for the factorial, it just introduced a new idea. We have n and the symbol. This equals what? It will equals 1 times 2 times 3. We multiply all the continuous natural number until we have n here. 1 times 2 times 3. We keep increasing until we multiply by 10. This is the factorial form. And now, for this expression, how can we simplify them? For this special exclamation mark, here, let's observe. For this factorial, this exclamation mark symbol here, all the number multiplied together, they are continuous natural number. So if we have n minus 1 factorial, What's the relationship between this one and this one? N minus 1 factorial, it equals 1 times 2 times 3 multiply until n minus 1. So if we multiply another n, it just becomes the factorial of the n. So what about? We just create ourselves. You may ask, what do you mean create ourselves? Did you find the numerator is again? It again becomes 1 smaller than the largest number in the denominator. So we write it as 1 minus, we just rewrite it as the largest number minus 1. 我们发现这个对于阶乘而言啊，它是从1开始一直连乘到自己为止，它中间是有连续的自然数。那我们比如说 n 减1的阶乘和 n 的阶乘唯一的区别是什么呢？不就是这个 n 吗？我们在 n 减1的阶乘上额外乘以一个 n， 它就变成我们 n 的阶乘了。所以我们在这儿，我们看到分母里这最大的这个数，我们可以尝试在分子里去构造，然后观察一下会发生什么。So here, the first fraction, the denominator is a factorial of 1. So we just created 1 here, and 1 minus 1 equals 0. And then the second one is this, we can write it as 2 minus 1 over the factorial of 2, plus 3 minus 1 over factorial of 3, plus 100 minus 1 with factorial of 100. 我们现在都把它拆成这样的形式，接下来要干什么？接下来咱们要开始变形了，见证奇迹的时刻。It's time to see the miracle happened. The first one we got, it is 0. We don't need to change it. But for the second one, becomes 2 over factorial of 2 minus 1 over factorial of 2 plus 3 over factorial of 3 minus 1 over factorial of 3 plus 100 over a factorial of 100 minus 1 over factorial of 100. 我们可以把它拆成这样，2的阶乘分之2减的2的阶乘分之1，加上3的阶乘分之3减的3阶乘分之1，加上一直加到100的阶乘分之100减去100的阶乘分之1。那我们关键就是要再看一下，what will be these special terms? For the factorial, 2, the factorial of 2 is what? It's a 1 times 2. So 1 times 2 with 2 cancel, it becomes the factorial of 1. 我们1乘2分之2，这里的2它把我们阶乘当中最大的数给约掉了。The numerator just cancel the largest number in this factorial. So it will decrease the number by 1. 我们2的阶乘它把最大的2约掉了，那我们剩的不就第二大的，那不就变成1的阶乘了吗？ So it becomes 1 over factorial of 1 minus 1 over factorial of 2. And then 3 over 3, the factorial of 3. Factorial of 3 is 1 times 2 times 3, and you find the 3 just cancel, becomes what? Becomes 1 plus the factorial of 2. 你看，它变成2的阶乘分之1了，减去2的阶乘分之1，加上2的阶乘分之1，互相抵消，是不是又可以约分了？也是不是就又可以化简？ And then for the following thing is a 1 minus factorial of 3, and keep doing that, plus 1 over factorial of 99 minus 1 over factorial of 100. And for this part, it just all the term in the middle just cancel. The answer is 1 minus 1 over 100's factorial. 我们最后发现中间这些全部化简了，那剩的是什么？1减去100的阶乘分之1，那这个就是我们非常非常特殊一道题目，课上没来得及讲，但这我们关键是要观察的就是 how to turn a factorial of n minus 1 to a factorial of n. We just multiply it and we just get the next one. We divide by the largest number of this term, it just becomes the previous factorial. So that is what we have for this one. And next question, I think we can use the same method, but for this one is even more challenging. This one is more challenging. For this one here, it depends. It just requires the experience and eyesight for the number. 对于这道题，它很多考验的是我们的一个经验的积累。So this is not required for you to fully understand, but I will show you all the steps. For the three main parts of this expression, the first part is the denominator. 我们这个题目的话呢，不要求大家完全理解，但是我会把这个过程全部写出来。我们这个题目它分为三部分，一部分是分母。For the denominator part, you find that it just become exponent about the 3, and it become the power about 3, and the exponent is keep increasing from 1 to 3 and increase to 100. And next part is a factorial part. Factorial of 3, factorial of 4, factorial of 5, and factorial of 102. And next part is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You find all the terms, they keep increasing, and the increasing no matter in the exponent, and the natural number and the factorial is always a continuous natural number. 我会发现这个三个部分它都是在不断增加的，不管是阶乘啊，我们最大的数字变大1，还是我们的分母它的指数增加1，还是我们最后常数部分它每个增加1，都是按照一个相同的速度相同的一个方式去增加。So we need be able to create the next term or the previous term within us. So here the key part is still the factorial. To the factorial of 3, if we want to get involved with the factorial of 4, we need to multiply by what? 我们现在有3的阶乘，3的阶乘 is this. If we want to become a factorial of 4, what do we need? The factorial of 4 is 1 times 2 times 3 times 4. 4的阶乘是1乘2乘3乘4。那我们需要个什么才能让3的阶乘变成4的阶乘呢？ We should multiply by 4. And here we multiply by 1. So what do? We just change the 1 to 4 minus 3. So the first term just become factorial of 3 multiply 4 minus 3 over the 3. A very important thing happened. For this very important thing, you find this 3, the number we minus, it's the same as the denominator. 我们会发现，我们这减去的3，它和我们的分母正好又对照上了，那非常好。And then we continue to do that. For the factorial of 4, how can we make it a factorial of 5? 对于4的阶乘，我们怎么给它变成5呢？5的阶乘呢？乘以5呗。But we only have 2 here, so the 2 becomes 5 minus 3. Hey, we got a 3 again. So we find, is it okay for all the terms? For the factorial of 5, 5的阶乘 if we want to make it to factorial of 6, 如果想要变成6的阶乘，我们需要乘以6 and the 6 is 6 minus 3. And the 3 is a 6 minus 3. Keep doing that until and then we just split everything. So for the first part, the factorial of 3 multiplied by 4 is a factorial of 4. 我们第一个3的阶乘乘4是4的阶乘 Don't forget divide by 3. And minus what? Minus a factorial of 3. Because it's factorial of 3, multiply by 3 and divide by 3. 它是3的阶乘乘以3再除以3，所以还是3的阶乘。And next one is factorial of 5 over 3 squared. 我们是3的平方分之5的阶乘，减去什么呢？减去我们的3分之 4的阶乘。哎 Did you find what has happened? This is the same as this one, right? This is the same as this one. And the next part is what? Next part, factorial of 5 times 6 is a factorial of 6. Divide by 3 to the cubic 3. 3的3次方分之6的阶乘，减去什么呢？减去 factorial of 5 over 3 squared. And this is the same part as this one. 我会发现它是隔着来约减的。那我们就看。So we just check for the following part what has left here. For the last term is a factorial of a 103 over 3 to the power of 100. 最后一项我们拆开变成103的阶乘除以3的100次方，减去 Sorry, here is not minus 100, it's minus 3. It's a minus 3. Minus factorial of 102 divided by 3 to the power of 99. And we find that for the terms, what has left here? 我们能约的都约了 What has left here? The factorial has 3 has been left. Minus factorial of 3. And this minus of factorial of 102 divided by 3 to the power of 99. It has been cancelled with this. And what is left here is this part. 我们在第一项里面剩了一个第二个，所以在最后一项我们剩的是第一个。If for the first term we got a second part left, so for the last term we got a first part left. So here the answer becomes 103 for the factorial of 103 over 3 to the power of 100 minus the factorial of 3. 所以这个就是我们这道题结果，这也是我们这次的一个拓展题当中比较复杂的一项，它涉及到三类数列同时去构造。It just involves how to construct the terms to be split among 3 sequences. And we can just try to find out, especially when we have factorial, we just try to think of how can we create a next term within myself. 我们就要在想，在有阶乘的情况下，我们一般要考虑的是什么呢？考虑的是怎么在自己的内部去构造下一项。So that will help a lot. Please try to think of these questions, and if it's okay, please repeat it. Just copy the answer and try to do it by yourself again. And the last one, for this question, I don't want to spend too much time on it. You find the denominator is good. Denominator is quite good. 6, 12, 20, 30, 42, and 56. There's 2 times 3 is 3 times 4, 4 times 5, 5 times 6, 6 times 7, and 7 times 8. And then we already find the denominator is perfect. We need to try to check the numerator. 那现在我们会发现这个分母已经非常完美了，2乘3、3乘4、4乘5、5乘6、6乘7、7乘8。但是分子呢？ The denominator is too large. It's too large. What about? Is it okay for us to make it easier? Let's find out what's the relationship between 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, and 75. Did you see that? When we repeat reading this number, 你有没有发现，当我们重复读这些数的时候，一个共同点就出来了，它都是5的倍数。So it becomes, if we pick a 5 out, 5 times 5 over 6 minus 7 over 12 plus 9 over 20 minus 11 over 30 plus 13 over 42 minus 15 over 56. And for the denominator, we just convert them again, becomes 2 times 3, 3 times 4, 4 times 5, 5 times 6. 6 times 7. 7 times 8. Did you find that? The numerator is just the sum of the two factors in the denominator. We can just split the terms directly and try to do the question by yourselves. I will not give the answer for you, but you can use this method to check whether your method is correct and whether you just got whether your calculation is correct. 那我们今天这个拓展的内容就基本差不多。对于这道题的话呢，因为后面的步骤已经和前面的大量重复，我也就不再继续去讲。麻烦大家检查一下自己的过程是否正确，以及你们的答案是否是符合要求的。那我们that is the end of our revision lesson. So for this part, some of the questions are very challenging, especially the previous one. But I still want you can just at least have a watch on it. 我们确实有些题目会很有挑战，比如上一题，但是至少大家可以去观察了解一下。所以我们下次再见 ，See you this weekend， 拜拜。